It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
Hello and welcome. He is Gary McNamara. I'm Eric Harley. As we begin a Friday, the last Friday of August and the last Friday before we go on vacation next week. Gary, what's happening?
Well, it's about time, damn time this administration did something of substance here.
Yeah.
J.D. Vance, here's a headline, warns NFL referees against Kansas City Chiefs favoritism after the Travis Kelce Taylor Swift engagement. It's about time. Now, that news was secondary to the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Man, I just love the meme. I woke up, it was all over the place. It said breaking news on Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones, alive and well at 82 and still general manager of the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah. Yeah. The whole Micah Parsons thing. All right.
Here it is. Vice President J.D. Vance put NFL officials on notice over any potential favoritism towards the Kansas City Chiefs after the engagement was announced this week. I had a friend of mine dying yesterday when I was having a conversation with her and telling her about. She said, Did you guys talk about? I mean, she goes, "Did you talk at all about the Travis, the Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift engagement?" And I went, "Well, in our own way,
In our own way." So funny because I told a longtime friend the same thing. I hadn't seen him in a while yesterday, and he goes, "Tell me you didn't spend any time on that." I said, we spent some time, but we spent the kind of time we're going to spend on it.
Yeah, it was our kind of time talking about the fact that we here in the United States, we need our royalty.
Yeah.
We need to have royalty.
That's right.
We need to go back. And we did relate it. We did go back, 70 years.
Yeah.
We've gone 70 years without Camelot.
That's right.
We need Camelot.
Yeah.
The Kennedys were Camelot. We needed a Camelot couple, and now we have one.
Well,
Meghan and Harry don't cut it. We needed our own.
Yeah.
And we need to know in this country. We need to look and say, wow, those people are better than us. They lead better lives than us. So that was, and she was dying laughing. She goes, "No, you really didn't do that." I went, "Well, of course we did."
We got to have fun. We got to have fun with it. I love the whole Camelot thing and the whole thing on the Kennedys and, their American royalty. And it's like, yeah, but one of them took pictures with a dead bear and put a whale's head on his car. So,
well, that's when Camelot officially ended.
We can do away with the Camelot thing now, can't we?
But see, look, this doesn't matter because it does relate. I mean, all this stuff with the referees really goes back to last year in the Bills.
Yeah.
But the Bills don't need any help.
No.
The Bills are going to win the Super Bowl. Yeah. And I saw it yesterday, and you want to know why? The Bills are going to win the Super Bowl this year.
Okay.
Mark it down.
All right.
Because I heard their star wide receiver yesterday when asked the question, what has been the key to your success? And he said it twice. He said, we put one foot in front of the other. And he said it twice. So, I mean, that kind of strategy, when you have that kind of incredible strategy where the press asks you, what's the key to your success? We put one foot in front of the other. Now, I wouldn't suggest that for defensive backs. For defensive backs,
right.
If you're playing a cornerback,
you're going to have to.
You got to put that
feet are going to have to go wherever they have to go.
Right. And a lot of times you got to put one foot behind the other foot.
Right. And if you're
backpedaling,
if you're doing a play known as the hokey pokey, you're going to put one foot in.
Yes.
And then after that, you're going to put one foot out.
was on YouTube yesterday, and it came up, and he said it once, and I burst out laughing. It's like, oh, that's a non-answer.
Oh, my God.
What's the key to your success? We put one foot in front of the other. And so then about a minute goes by, and he goes, well, as I said before, the key to our success is putting one foot in front of the other. It's like,
it's
mine too.
It sounds like something I would do if I were like a trillionaire. I just, you know what? I'm going to buy a team. I'll do the Jerry Jones thing. I'll be the default coach, right? And I'll just go in, just be smarmy at the press conferences. Well, what we did is, we got the team into hot yoga, and we thought hot yoga was going to be.
Well, I did see Mark Cuban. You see Mark Cuban early this week. What did people think? I was going to stay till I was 137 years old and still be the owner of the Mavs, and I'm like, you got to finish the statement. Like Jerry Jones.
Like Jerry Jones. Well, when he said that, I thought, well, a lot of team owners do.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's actually seems to be how it goes. But it's Brian Regan, stand-up comedian, has a bit about he grew up in Miami, and he goes, if I was rich enough, I'd buy a second NBA team. And he said just so I could say this, and they would say, well, Mr. Regan, what is the name of your team? Well, it's not the Heat. It's the humidity.
Yeah, I love that.
They'd resign the next day. I would probably, if that would be me. I would just want to do. Has anybody done that? Has anybody done a comedy show, like a regular TV show? I'm trying to think. I know Coach was on for years, but that's not the same thing. But where they're just kind of making fun of the media, the banter, the media press conference is really kind of the height of the show, and it's just obviously tongue in cheek, kind of like The Office or something.
They had the one show, like it was ESPN. They had like the anchors.
Oh yeah, that was Sports Night.
Yeah,
that was years ago.
With what's his name, the guy that was in Tuesdays with Maury.
Yeah, Peter.
No, Azaria, something like that.
Yeah. Hank Azaria.
Yeah, was that him? Yeah.
Was he in Sports Night? Was he?
I thought he was. Yeah.
Okay. And then there was Peter. I can't remember his last name. Another actor. Yeah. That was in it. Actually, at the time, I didn't dislike that show, but what I thought was, it's almost a carbon copy of what I thought would go on at ESPN. I think it only lasted 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah, it wasn't on long, but no, they still haven't solved the problem. I don't know. I don't really watch. I mean, I can't this year again. The problem with, for example, me being a Bills fan and the Bills being good is they don't play at noon Central or 1 o'clock Eastern all the time. I can catch them. It's always a late game or a primetime game.
Yeah.
Even their 2 out of their 3 preseason games were prime time, so I can't watch anymore.
Yeah, right.
But for some reason, I just find all the different press conferences, and it's because when I wake up, I'm doing show prep on my phone, but I just go to YouTube and I just let it go. I may start on Forbes with something, and then it just goes in shuffle and picks up stuff, and it's like, oh, what's this press conference here? They still have not solved the problem of microphones in the NFL for all the we complain a lot about all the billionaire owners and the stadiums and the taxpayer dollars, but nobody complains about the fact you can never hear the damn question from the reporters.
Yeah.
We have the technology.
That's another Reagan bit. In fact, his entire one stand-up special is named after that, called Nunchucks and Flamethrowers.
I would say I've seen it before. I've said that 20 years before he even existed. I've been saying that since the longest time for press conferences going back to the 80s and whatever, because it just...
That would be the 1980s, to be clear.
Yes, 1980s, not the 1880s.
Right.
Because it just drives me crazy, because your whole point is to communicate Only reason you have a press conference is so the people watching know what the heck's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking to myself, what? Did the NFL say we need somebody to run the sound system, so they hired the Cracker Barrel CEO or something?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like they have no clue. And then they did try. I saw one team, I don't know what team it was, tried to do it where they had a microphone out there, but whoever was switching it back and forth, switching it back and forth between the, whoever was asking the question and the coach, the switch, they were putting up the volume of one and then putting down the volume of the other, and it just was annoying. But golf does it the majority of times at the major tournaments. Whatever happens, the Masters, you can hear what the reporter says.
Yeah.
You can hear what the question is. It's like, what is the problem? I told you about, the trailer that I did for that in the future sometime, the mob mockumentary.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when I did the little bit part, the cameras that they have now actually have the microphones that you don't have to have them on the person.
Mm-hmm.
They actually shoot a significant difference or significant distance and actually can pick up your voice very well. So the technology
that's
right.
in movies that's how it has to be done. Yeah.
The technology is there. They have the technology to do it. They just won't do it.
Right.
But I had to with the J.D. Vance warning the NFL referees against chief favoritism. We had to bring that up. I wonder. I just saw the article. I didn't see him actually say it. I've got an audio cut coming up of him with something else here in just a moment. But the article from Fox makes it sound serious.
Yeah.
I can't believe it was really serious.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
What, the federal government, Trump's going to go, if you don't stop doing it, I'm going to want a 10% stake in the NFL.
Right. Or at least Kansas City.
But
or Taylor Swift. Or both. 10% stake in Taylor Swift.
$160 million then, right? I saw she's worth $1.6 billion.
1.6 million?
Billion.
Okay.
So it'd be 160 million would be a 10%
yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, if they get 10%. Yeah, and again, I just think I think it's noble for her to adopt a mere millionaire. And this is, I guess going to be the approach. I think it's great that Law and Crime, Dan Abrams' channel is doing live coverage of the prenup negotiations. That's interesting.
Oh my goodness!
Is Nancy Grace on that?
Her face all contorted.
Yeah.
I
can't believe that she's gonna give him all of that.
And the thing is, when she first came and started doing analysis, years ago, decades ago,
yeah,
I liked her.
There was something there, and then she almost became a caricature of herself.
Yes.
And I think it's because they used her in so many movies. When there was
that's true.
When there was a legal scene in the movie, they would cut to court TV or whatever, and then Nancy Grace would be playing herself, and then all of a sudden, boom. And so I think you just kind of have to keep that persona. I think that mostly is who she is anyway, but. Yeah.
I thought when she first started, not only did I like her, her style, I thought she was very, very attractive.
Yeah.
And her looks really haven't changed. Everybody gets older, except me.
Yeah.
And but it's just the contortion of the face and the constantly being outraged.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, now if she's on, I'm just like click, 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 click.
Yeah, she looks almost identical to a sales manager I used to work with. He wore a lot of makeup.
We got a great show. We made it to Friday, which means, we're going to be on vacation next week.
That's right.
So I can't say what in the hell are we going to be talking about next week that's going to be we can't believe it. Because when you think about it, this week again beat last week, that beat the week before, that beat the week before, that beat the week before, and it was the Democrats in prayer.
Yeah.
Boggles my mind.
Yeah.
Absolutely boggles my mind. It's like there is no self-awareness from Democrats at all about the things that they hit.
Right.
And we had talked about that in the first hour on yesterday's show about just it doesn't make any sense. Nobody's saying no, and you could hear the narrative yesterday from Democrats. They think the prayer is going to solve the problem. Nobody's ever said that.
Yeah, nobody's said that.
Nobody's ever said that.
No.
And then, so they're making up a straw man now.
Right.
And it's just like, wow. It just, I just can't believe it. But it was a very busy week. The president did take care of a couple of things. J.D. Vance yesterday saying, well, we want the governors and mayors to ask for help. We're not going to force anybody to do it. So that's clear.
Yeah.
And you see, I've read it. I think I have the audio here coming up. Number one, I do have the audio with Mayor Bowser coming out and just talking about how great everything is. And then I heard the mayor of Baltimore also said he'd be willing to take help. They've just lost. If that, I have got the audio. If that gets publicized, where do the Democrats go?
Well, if you think about it, Baltimore's kind of been the focus for a while. I mean, aside from Chicago, New York, and
L.A.,
other cities,
San Francisco.
But Baltimore, we go back to the riots in Baltimore when those 6 police officers were arrested and eventually acquitted. But that scenario, Baltimore has been talked about for the longest time. That crime is just out of hand, and it was almost like all hope is lost. They did the TV series on it, The Wire, and so that's how long it's been a thing. It's been a major, major problem. And if it's true that the mayor of Baltimore is saying, hey, we're open to it, wow, that could be huge. Because, again, Trump's going to win this one way or the other if you're on the left. I know Pritzker, with his huge ego, can't. He does everything big.
Is ego, is that a synonym for abdomen?
Pant size. So that's the problem, is they can't get past their own ego. Trump's going to win this with or without you. The better route for you is to cooperate or ask him to come in.
We have a show ahead.
We do.
Pretty good, maybe. 866-90-RED-EYE.
This report is brought to you by Shell Rotella. With advanced synthetic technology, is designed to help keep your rig running with more mileage and less maintenance. Keep your engine humming in the heat this summer by keeping up with preventive maintenance. Think your PM is complete after your oil is changed? Think again. There's grease, transmission fluids, and gear oil to consider too. Transmission fluid, for example, prevents wear of gears, bearings, and bushings, protects against corrosion, and acts as a heat transfer fluid. You may not think about this every time you get behind the wheel, but as soon as it's not doing its job, you'll notice. Misapplication of transmission fluid can mean reduced fuel economy and abrupt or hard shifts if the static friction is too high. It can also cause sluggish operation at low temperatures if the viscosity is too high and leaking through seals if viscosity is too low.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90-RED-EYE on Red Eye Radio.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Normally when we get to Friday, we've got tons of audio. Crime, a huge issue. The radical transgender movement, a huge issue. An issue which is now gone. Fox mentioned it yesterday, but it's gone, was the Trump and the 600,000 Chinese students. That was gone. And we had brought you where he, I think it was Katie Pavlich, where she said the source said, and then they told Fox News, no.
Yeah.
So, not going to happen. No.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
It is Red Eye Radio. We are Red Eye Radio, not it's. We. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. We're not it's. Okay.
I could be in it.
All right. So I just want to I want to play just a few audio cuts here because that's what we do on Friday because we want to get all of them in.
Yeah.
But this all matches up with, I think, the biggest story of the week, and it comes because of the horrendous mass murder shooting in Minneapolis, but also just crime in general, and the president and in D.C. And still, I think it was Jessica Tarloff I saw. I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before. She was talking about the fact of, if Obama did what Trump did in D.C., the right would be up in arms. And I'm like, no, they wouldn't.
No.
And constitutionally,
now I'd be shocked.
Yeah,
if he wanted to get on top of crime.
Oh yeah.
And started with D.C.
Yes,
that would kind of freak me out.
And if you had states or cities come to the federal government and say, we want your help to stop crime, yeah, and all of that would be constitutional. And what the president is doing in D.C., and we said when he first came out and said, well, I'm thinking about Chicago, whatever, and we went, all right, he's trolling. He's not going to do that because the courts would not look favorably upon that because D.C. is a completely different animal than any city in a state. And so here's J.D. Vance making it clear what the White House wants to do. Here's the question and then his response.
You know, the president this week signed an executive order around the National Guard. And so I'm curious if you can give us some more detail on that, wanting the National Guard members to be available for rapid mobilization and establish a quick reaction force. My question would be, would that quick reaction force be deployed to help with day-to-day police work? And would a governor, like the governor of Wisconsin, have the option to say no to any deployment nationwide?
Well, let me say a few things about this. First of all, the principle at stake here is very simple. Americans ought to feel safe on American streets. How many of us...
I want to just break here for a second. Now, that's a controversial statement, isn't it?
Yeah. How dare you?
to Democrats, it is. I mean, how dare he say that? But let's continue.
How many of us have crossed to the other side of the street because there's a person on the street corner yelling and screaming at our kids or at our family? How many people have felt scared to walk down the street of an American neighborhood in daylight or at night because those streets are considered no-go zones? How ridiculous is it that we ever let there be no-go zones on streets paid for by American taxpayers? You bought those streets. You ought to be able to enjoy them as American citizens. It's very, very simple. So that is the principle at stake here. And in Washington, D.C., let's step back a little bit. Washington, D.C. got to a point where it was having a murder more than every other day. The national capital of the most powerful nation in the history of the world had a murder every other day, carjackings, armed robberies that rival literal third world countries. And the President of the United States said, this is America's city and enough is enough, and he deployed the National Guard to fix it. Now, that was the right decision at the time. But I don't know how anybody can look at the results over the last 14 days and say anything other than thank God Donald Trump did what he did. Because armed robberies, carjackings, murders are down between 40 to 90%. Even the very Democratic mayor of D.C. said yesterday that she was grateful for the additional police presence because it made it possible for people, Americans, black, white, rich, and poor, to enjoy the nation's capital again. And that's what I want. I mean, all of you, Washington, D.C. is your town. You literally built it with your tax dollars. You should be able to come and go to one of these beautiful museums or see one of these incredible monuments without fear that you're going to get mugged. And that's what we have changed in just a short period of time. And you asked the Wisconsin-specific question. What the president has said is that, very simply, we want governors and mayors to ask for the help. The President of the United States is not going out there forcing this on anybody, though we do think that we have the legal right to clean up America's streets if we want to. But what the President has said is very simply is, why don't you invite us?
Yeah, invite us in.
Right.
It's a very generic statement. He says, but we do have the legal right to clean up America's streets. It's a very generic statement. It's the specifics that you would get into trouble with that.
Yeah.
Because if federal law is broken in any town, the FBI has the right to go in, and the federal courts have the right, if federal crimes are broken, drug laws, things like that, yes, you have the right there. Do you have the right just to go in and say we're going to be the police force? Constitutionally, at that point, you're running into some troubles.
Right.
If you just say, no, we're just going to go into every town and the federal government's going to take over, that's not going to happen.
Right.
Constitutionally.
D.C. is unique.
D.C. is absolutely unique. Now, let's get to the actual realism of what's going on, the reality of what's going on. Here's also Mayor Bowser speaking again. We played an audio cut from her the other day where she talked about how carjackings were down 87% and seemed quite happy. Here's more from her.
I want to say that I have been personally engaged with Attorney General Bondi and the President's Chief of Staff, Susie Wiles, and I spoke with the President this afternoon. And I was reminded of our first meeting after his reelection, where we discussed shared priorities for the district. There, I was reminded that the President's interest in cities predates his time in office, and his knowledge of D.C. had significantly increased from the first time he was in the White House. And so we knew that the priorities around safety and investment in infrastructure would be on the President's mind.
There you go. Doesn't sound too negative, does it? Not at all.
No.
All right, let's go to, this is an interview on Fox News with the Democratic governor of Maryland talking about Trump and the crime crackdown. That's what it says on the banner. Here we go.
Governor, I appreciate the investment, but it would just seem to me if despite that investment, Baltimore still ranks third in the nation in violent crime rate per capita in the nation, that you would welcome in the President of the United States' help if crime in Maryland. And as to the point of partisan politics, it's simply the truth. The truth isn't partisan. And the truth is most of the major cities in the United States are run by Democrat governors, and they're also the highest rate crime cities in the country. I'm on limited time, and I want to give you a chance to address something,
I would
though, Governor.
absolutely
because President
welcome
Trump brought
federal
it up.
support.
Apparently, there we go.
And it's like, okay. I guess we're done here. But that's a huge thing because, again,
winning.
Right. But it's the way we broke it down yesterday, and it really is my belief that Democrats, they're on this. Trump is going to win. He wins with you or without you. And without you, that means you're screaming, "Yay, crime!" and having your pro-crime parade. That's what it looks like to the people that live in your cities and states. And it looks petty. You're doing it for a petty reason. So you don't care about crime and you're being petty because you don't like Trump. They don't remember or maybe never learned about the dynamics of how many people left their party, the Democratic Party. Was it 4.5 million? And now
the total difference. I think it's like 2.5.
Yeah, the net is it the total swing. So now you've got two choices. You be petty and let the crime keep going and do nothing about it, or you ask President Trump for help, and then you become the face of it too. You say, hey, crime is crime. You don't even, I can see them being still, you can hold on to your petty attitude by saying things like, we want to thank the members of the National Guard for their service, right? We want to thank the officers who are on the federal level all the way down to the local level who are making this happen and put their lives on. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry. I seem to have forgotten the whole defund the police. And that's the other problem. You committed to something that you could never back out of. That your side, the far left, wants no part of changing the whole defund the police thing. They don't want to rescind that at all. So now you're in this conundrum, and it's purely political, and it's quite frankly, it's tragic. Because the people of those cities deserve better. They deserve to be protected. They deserve leaders who want to protect them. But quite unfortunately, too many keep voting in leaders who don't care. We've seen it in all the major blue cities. We were asking back, in the Chaz Summer of Love thing, what do the locals really think? Well, we don't know, didn't have polls going on a daily basis on that thing. But at the end of it, did the Democrats lose power? Are they going to lose power in these blue cities? The answer is no, they're not. But there is a way to set aside your petty attitude and actually do something about crime. And maybe, just maybe, people like Mayor Brandon in Chicago can get his approval numbers, maybe up to 25. It's just, and by the way, you and I have a problem with that 24% approval rating that he recently had, because we go back to the 6.6 approval rating that he had, and we talked about it, and it's like, oh my gosh. They had to add the 0.6 just to make the 6 look better. And that's their reality. But that's their political reality. But the reality of the citizens living in those towns, in those cities, is every day they face that crime, that uncertainty, that fear. No one should live in that kind of fear. No one. And yet they do. And the help is there for the asking. It's not like you've got to go pull teeth to make this happen. All you got to do is make a phone call.
866-90-RED-EYE.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90-RED-EYE.
We are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. The Fed made easy coming up following the top of the hour.
Yeah, all right.
Stuff about the Fed.
Yeah.
I saw the audio cut yesterday. Let me just look at it real quickly here from J.D. Vance, where he said, I don't think we allow bureaucrats to make decisions about monetary policy and interest rates without the input from the people that were elected to serve the American people. The president is much better able to make those determinations. On interest rates?
Yeah. Well, let's be careful.
I'm not saying the Fed's done the greatest job, but not even talking about that, trying to make it easy so people can understand where the Fed gets their authority from.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff that hasn't been tested, like, the one governor that he wants gone, fired.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that I've read in the Constitution, you can fire him for cause. But there's really no precedent for this particular cause on the mortgage allegation. Will that, and that's why she took it to court, and we'll see where that goes.
Mm-hmm.
Did she do wrong? Yes. Does it fit what the court, and this would have to go to the Supreme Court, correct?
Yeah, I think so.
Would you fast track it to the Supreme Court? I'm guessing you
I would. Think so. Yeah.
But it still could take a while to do that. But where does the Fed get their authority from? We hear they're an independent agency. Are they? We'll get to that all coming up.
Top of the Hour News is brought to you by House Products. Visit houseproducts.com.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thanks so much for being here this morning. It's a Friday. So we've got audio to play, and we really didn't delve into the Fed too much this week, the whole thing with the president wanting to fire one of the Fed governors for cause because of mortgage applications.
Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, this is a big thing now that the administration seems to have found with Democrats, this Fed chair and other Democrats out there, and the Department of Justice looking into those particular things. But when it comes to the Fed overall, let's try to cover all of it. First, I want to play what J.D. Vance said the other day. All right, when interviewed about firing for just cause and what their goal actually would be. Here we go.
All right.
A couple of things here. So first of all, I don't think anybody doubts that Lisa Cook committed some mortgage fraud. Whether a local authority decides to prosecute or federal authorities prosecute, or of course the president doesn't get involved in those decisions. But she made a mistake, and she potentially made a criminal mistake. And the question is, do we want a person who makes a mistake like that to be a person who sits on the Federal Reserve Board, which makes important monetary policy for the entire country? I think that position should be held to the highest possible standard. So whether it's criminal, whether it's intentional or not, we know that this is a person, I think, who doesn't meet the standard that we should expect for the Federal Reserve, which is why the president fired her. And he does have the legal right to fire her. And this goes into a second, I think, a much more fundamental question. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, that Lisa Cook had done absolutely nothing wrong. Isn't it a little preposterous to say that the President of the United States, the elected President of the United States, working, of course, in concert with Congress, doesn't have the ability to make these determinations? What people who are saying the President has no authority here, what they're effectively saying is that 7 economists and lawyers should be able to make an incredibly critical decision for the American people with no democratic input. Like, I thought the people controlled this country, that people made the determinations in this country through their elected representatives, including the President of the United States. I don't think that we allow bureaucrats to sit from on high and make decisions about monetary policy and interest rates without any input from the people that were elected to serve the American people. And I think that's fundamentally what this is about. Who makes the decisions about this country? Is it those the American people elect, or is it unelected bureaucrats? And I feel very strongly that the President of the United States is much better able to make these determinations. And by the way, if the American people disagree with the president, they, of course, can throw out the president every 4 years and throw in a new president.
Now, I don't know what he means when he says the POTUS is better able to make these determinations. Is he talking interest rates or because I think that's where he's headed, because when it comes to firing for just cause, the president has that authority to do so. But when you look at it, when you look at the actual Fed to begin with, let's first start from the point that there are many people that believe that the Fed in itself is unconstitutional. And you're saying how? Well, you go back and you look and say, do they have the enumerated power? Does Congress, do they have that? When you look at it, the Fed basically came from Article 1, Section 8, which says that Congress shall have the power, let me make sure I get it to make sure that I have it, here it is, to coin money, regulate the value thereof, and of foreign coin, and fix the standard of weights and measures. All right? There is the train of thought that, okay, you have the Treasury Department to do that. You know, the Fed, again, was created with the Federal Reserve Act of 1913, updated in 1935, updated again in 1977. Does the Fed, and by the way, and Congress is the one that said that the Fed, should exist. Congress created the Fed and said they should be an independent agency, but the president, again, gets to nominate the head of the Fed, which then is approved by the Senate, and the president has the ability for just cause to fire, one of the Fed chairs or whatever, the governors, for whatever. It says just cause. What is just cause is going to be determined by the courts here in this case. Vance makes a point, though. It's a solid point. Look, if you're going to do something and we don't know whether it's legit or not because what the intent was, whether it was a mistake, you don't know that until you actually take that to court, right?
Yeah.
Will Congress, will they look at that? Or not Congress, will the Supreme Court look at that and say, well, no, you actually have to commit a crime. You have to be charged with the crime in order for just cause. Now, for us to be fired, any one of us to be fired, that isn't the standard, that you have to break the law. You can be fired for just cause because you talk back to your boss. So determining what just cause here, that will be the determination of the actual court. When you look at the Fed overall, though, it's sort of the critics of the Fed sort of give the exact same argument that we have given when we talk about the War Powers Act. You hear that all the time. The president has to pay attention to what Congress says. Congress created the War Powers Act. The president must do this if he's going to enter a war. And every administration, even if they say we're going to follow the Wars Power Act, lets Congress know legally and constitutionally we don't have to. Congress cannot dictate to the president what he does when it comes to being commander-in-chief. That can only be changed through the Constitution. When you look at the Fed, and for example, I'll give one example here. You read the text of the Constitution. Congress shall have the power to coin money, regulate the value thereof, and of foreign coin, and fix the standard of weights and measures. And you see that, for example, when you go to the gas pump. That may be states' weights and measures, but you understand the concept, judging whether things are in the monetary system are accurate or not. Basically, I guess you could say auditing the Fed would be part of the whole weights and measures.
I would think so, but apparently there plenty of people don't agree with that.
And so you look at that and you say, okay, so what Congress did was, we have the Treasury Department, but they said because of banking problems, that we saw, I think, as recent as 1907, 1908, 1909, which helped the creation of, say we need to bring some stability. And so, the regional Fed banks are there and all that. But does the Constitution, when you say to coin money, regulate the value thereof of money, does that mean figuring out how much money to print based on how the economy is how the economy is going, which we do all the time. If the economy is expanding, we print more money. But does that give Congress, this is the question, the ability to create an agency which independently, for example, can say, well, we're going to keep interest rates low for 10 years and never really give a good explanation as to why? Now, you can make the case that by doing things with the interest rate, you are regulating the value of the currency in some way. Because the value of the currency is based on also on the interest rate.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you justify that? So there's so many different questions when it comes to that. For example, does that include interest rates? Does that include the fact that the Fed has a benchmark interest rate, that is supposed to keep the economy, unemployment, all they're all the goals that they have there. There's a reason that they have those goals. Congress gave them the ability to do that, but does the Constitution give them the ability to do that is the question. The one thing that you don't see in here at all from Congress is the insinuation by J.D. Vance that the president, now, he's not talking constitutionally. He's saying this is what it should be, and so that's a difference. We can have that discussion. But from what I can see, the Constitution does not give the president the ability to change interest rates.
No, if you were going to start that, then that would be a very dangerous precedent and road to go down, because it would be manipulated. You could manipulate that politically to no end.
Now, it does give the president the right to pick the Fed chair and other members of the Fed who may agree with his monetary policy.
Right.
That's totally and completely constitutional.
Right.
If the Fed is constitutional.
Right.
And so those are all the questions that are that are out there. And how do you know when you say the Congress has the ability? Because Section 8 of Article 1 is what gave Congress the ability, and the courts have agreed with it, gave Congress the ability to create the Fed. But when you actually read it, did those courts get it right is the question. To coin money, to regulate the value thereof. And so what does that specifically mean? How far does can the Fed go? But nowhere in there can you see that. And I think J.D. Vance was saying it should be this way.
Mm-hmm.
But the president is totally within his power to appoint people when a vacancy comes up who believe in his particular monetary policy, whatever it is.
Right.
Now, God help us if Mondami ever becomes president.
Well, again, when you look at that, and there's that degree of separation between appointing a person and then this idea that's floated here by Vice President Vance, and that is the president having the direct call on interest rates. That would be chaotic, because imagine where that wouldn't end. Think about, all right, you've lost the election, and on January 19th, interest rates 10%. It would be a horrible idea. You and I go back to all right, what about the market? And what about the demand for borrowing? And when the Fed steps in with their benchmark rate, how much of that is necessary? How much of it is not? Because while they have, they've been doing it for years, it's a small group of people and they'll respond
that have gotten things wrong.
You know, I think I could safely say they've mostly gotten things wrong.
Yeah. Now,
and that includes zero interest rates or near zero interest rates for far too long.
Now, the point is, but the Fed's needed to avert economic disaster. Well, you could still say, all right, Congress could have a group of people that they could immediately point to and say, it's time to do this, or they could give the president the authority at a particular point to say, this is economic calamity going to happen here. The Fed needs to step in at this point, outside of 99% of the time, where should it be much more market-based what the interest rate is, unless there's an economic disaster. But as we know, economic disasters, why do so many of them happen?
Because of the government.
Yeah.
It's man-made.
Yeah.
The housing fall of 2008, 2009, and the Great Recession.
Completely government-caused.
Take Fannie and Freddie out of that equation.
You don't have it.
Wouldn't have happened.
And so you look at, even the regulation back in the late 80s.
Yeah.
Of what happened then. But you look at it, we don't really have a lot of emergencies that aren't government-caused emergencies.
Right. I mean, and then the government responds to the emergency they create.
So the Fed is there to protect. You can make the argument. The Fed is there to protect the
protect
people,
us from the government.
Protect the people from the government.
Yeah.
And like I said, we could talk about this for 10 years.
Well, but it goes back to when you look at an independent body, in this case, the Federal Reserve, and this idea of an independent body. You and I have always talked about, we would get these suggestions of, well, they could appoint an independent. Well, who's truly independent?
No, there is no.
Are humans involved? Well, then it's not truly independent.
AI.
Exactly.
AI. We need an AI Fed.
But even AI tends to go left.
Right.
Because it gets the input, it gathers the input of thought of a great number of people, and something that would be, if not the majority, the loudest. Well, who's the loudest?
Right. And I just wrote AI as a joke, by the way.
Yeah.
Because AI right now, you look at it, for example, so much is garbage in, garbage out.
Right.
Especially when it comes to making search decisions on Google.
Right. Exactly.
But you're like, what?
Yeah.
I thought AI was supposed to help us. No, it just collects all the information and immediately gives it to you.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of BS in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But 866-90-RED-I.
Brought to you by FPPF. Fuel Power Max.
Owner-operators can save a hefty amount of money by participating in discount fuel networks. If you're leased and your fleet has a fuel optimizer program, use it. Such a program helps plan a trip based on fuel prices and locations in the carrier's fuel network. The larger the carrier, typically the larger the discounts that are possible. Fees for using such networks have become rare thanks to competition for drivers. Owner-operators are well advised, however, to pass up network fuel stops that are too costly, are too far off route, sell inferior fuel, or are dangerously or poorly maintained. For independent owner-operators, a bevy of fuel discount networks exists, from a variety of traditional fuel cards to the National Association of Small Trucking Companies network and the younger mudflap applications discounts at independent truck stops around the nation. Research the options and discounts available to find the right one for you. Owner-Operator Business 101 is provided by Overdrive's Partners in Business program. Go to overdriveonline.com to the Partners in Business section of the website for more details on this and many other topics.
Brought to you by Shell Rotella. With advanced synthetic technology is designed to help keep your rig running with more mileage and less maintenance.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
We are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. One thing I would say, if it's going to get to the courts whether Trump has the authority to fire for just cause, and which means the courts are going to have to do discovery.
Yeah,
and look at the actual allegations.
Right.
Because the president can do it for just cause. You have to define just cause, and just cause means you'd have to actually look at the documents that she signed.
Mm-hmm.
So. Would it even get up to the Supreme Court? Would she keep appealing if she lost because it was a slam dunk against her? He has the ability to fire her for just cause. The question is, what's the definition of just cause?
Right.
Catch all 5 hours of the show live every night on the Red Eye Radio app. Available in the App Store. Red Eye Radio.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. I'm laughing here because I was just listening to the co-founder of Cracker Barrel come out and talking about what has happened the last couple of weeks. And it was interesting because on social media yesterday, I just love the people who are, I don't know what the big deal. I haven't paid attention to it, but I don't know why anybody cares that Cracker Barrel changed their logo. Who really cares about it? There are more important things. And of course, it's a fascinating business model story.
Yeah.
But it's also a huge political story of wokeness and how wokeness should not be in your business model. It's not the most important story out there, but it is. It's an incredibly interesting story to watch when you go through it and you look at that this thing was really a year and a half in the making.
Yeah.
It's a very, very important business story, and I think also a very, very important business political story.
Yeah.
Because it does follow up on the whole Bud Light thing.
Yes.
And I want to play here. This is the co-founder of Cracker Barrel here yesterday. Here we go.
Logo rolled out the other day.
Oh, that's crazy. That's nothing. That's a bland nothing. It's pitiful.
Do you think she knows the story of Cracker Barrel?
I don't think so. I heard she was at Taco Bell, but what's Taco Bell know about Cracker Barrel and country food? And the food is something that they need to work on. Spending $700 million to do that is all I've been doing. Not just throwing money out the street.
Logo rolled out the
Yeah. Sort of what we said yesterday.
Well, and that's the whole thing is that it was country home cooking comfort food, in an environment that isn't like most homes, yeah, and also a shopping environment when you first walk in that is completely unique, and good customer service. If it ain't broke, don't make it woke. It's a very simple equation. Not that the net earnings and operating costs weren't a problem. You got to get to the heart of that, and I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's labor related. I don't know if that is supplies. What that is. Labor in the restaurant industry has been a problem. A much bigger problem. It's been a problem for a long time, but a much bigger problem since COVID. And so I don't know if that's at work. But the one thing you don't do is go in and change the fundamentals and then criticize the menu that your customer base is there for.
The co-founder, 93-year-old Tommy Lowe, said that new logo, that's crazy. That's bland nothing. Calling the new logo pitiful, he warned executives to keep it country if they want to survive.
Yeah.
And it's just, they said Lowe's critique carries historic weight. This is from Fox Business. Alongside the late Dan Evans, he helped open the first Cracker Barrel in 1969 off Interstate 40 in Wilson County, Tennessee. With the idea of a roadside restaurant and a country store. It was always a country store for country people, Lowe added, adding the current leadership just doesn't understand that. And it's true.
Yeah. You've built a strong base of customers over that time, and there is no need to change that when it's still working.
Yeah.
You know, that isn't your problem. Your menu isn't your problem. Over the years, you know, I'm sure they've introduced a couple things here and there. I know that there's some seasonal things that come and go. You know, probably, I'm guessing, this isn't such a wild guess either, pumpkin spice something or another, you know, in the fall. So you introduce, or you might introduce, you know, something new or whatever. Have a special on something.
A new pie.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Pumpkin spice cheesecake or
Yeah,
pumpkin,
right.
you know,
Right.
or, you know, those kind of things. But the very basics of that menu, they have the breakfast that I order when I go is the old timers breakfast. Now, the older I get, the more reluctant I am to actually say it out loud to the server. I want this one right here. Just point at it in the menu. But, you know, there are things where people have their favorites. But let's face it, right? Pancakes, which are great, especially if you're going to go home and take a nap. You've got, you know, biscuits, eggs, bacon, grits. You know, it's a very basic concept. Very basic concept. And then you take it to scale, right? Mm-hmm. You start there at the store in Tennessee. Next thing you know, it's nationwide. So, and what's the idea behind that? The idea is to build a brand where people know what to expect when they go in. You know, when McDonald's started catering to a lot of the vegans who never ate there and they were complaining about this or that, you know, as activists, I was always of the mindset, look, you know, if you want to add a menu item here or there, that's fine. But you do burgers and fries. Burgers and fries. That's what you do. Burgers and fries. I heard, I just read an article, I don't know if it's Wall Street Journal, somewhere in the last week. The crispy chicken sandwich is on the rise. Like everybody's coming out with their own version of crispy chicken sandwich. All right, fine. You know, whatever's working. But the point is, you know what to expect when you go to a chain. You should know what to expect. And that's what they built. They built a brand where the customer knows what to expect. Whatever's going on internally needs to be fixed. But the concept and the perception by your customer base does not. And I think this is a clear lesson. Hopefully. I don't get that whole Bud Light approach where you go, it's time to change it. That's an activist approach. You're going to change it. Why? Because you want to be woke? because you want to be something different, because you want to see different types of people in your restaurant, everybody's welcome. There's only one requirement. That, well, I guess two, they have money and they're hungry.
You know what I wanted to see? If I'm sitting on that board, if I'm in the meeting or I'm one of the stockholders, what's your business model?
Right. What's your brand?
If you're going to make it a completely different experience, what do you believe your revenue stream is going to be? What are you going to lose as to who you're going to gain from, and who is going to go to Cracker Barrel who's not currently going because you've decided to go more woke and, change the decor, have it much more. I saw a couple of the new ones out there. I mean, they don't even look like a Cracker Barrel.
Right.
I mean, it's glass and metal, and I'm like,
yeah.
What was your bit? And to me, there should be a projection of, we're going to lose these customers, but we're going to pick this up, right?
Yeah.
In a billion-dollar corporation, you would expect that, and I haven't seen anything because I know that everything that I believe was it the New York Times that did the article on it. Who got the all the info from the SEC? That's where Fox Business got it. Fox Business, where we found out about that one investor.
Yeah,
but
right.
What was the business model? You and I are always fascinated by business models. Okay, sounds good. What's your business model? How are you going to make money? Who are you going to bring in?
Right.
What are you going to do?
Right.
And you really didn't hear that at all. It was just, no, the $700 million, and you saw the former, not the former, because he is the, the co-founder. So he's not a former co-founder. The co-founder said $700 million. What the hell are you talking about?
Right. Throwing money down the drain.
To do what? Which is really the reason that their earnings were down.
Right.
Their earnings were down because they spent so much money to do something that wasn't going to make them money.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great lesson, what you've seen this week from Cracker Barrel, from what you've seen from the Democrats. Now, you did see Gavin Newsom saying he's going to surge state troopers and stuff in areas with high crime. And he was hemming and hawing, well, why are you going to do this? Are you following Trump? And he ended the press conference pretty quick. I mean, it's just, but when you look at the Democrats on crime, the Democrats on the whole thoughts and prayers thing, look at it.
Yeah.
It's a great learning lesson for anybody out there who believes, as I did when I was young, that these people have a title. I got this straight from Dad. Dad is the one that he said one of the biggest problems you're going to find out in life. Number one, people want to be BS'd. Number two, people get a title and they feel they've got an infusion of brains.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
And you just, when I was younger, I would look at Congress people and senators and and leaders of industry and just assume, because they were in that position, that they had some incredible intelligence that maybe someday I could reach 1/4 of what they had.
Right.
And you find out that the vast majority in government don't have it, and you find people in business and industry that don't have it either. Well, now you have more have it in industry and business than in government. I mean, government, I sit there and I look, you look at the Democratic Party, I look at a ton of Republican people and the things that they say, especially economically speaking. I'm like, they're completely clueless. They have no idea what the hell they're talking about.
Well, the fatal flaw in the private sector and business is when you look to serve a cause instead of serving the customer.
Yeah.
The cause won't bring you money. You may feel like a hero in that moment, but you can't be a hero if you're not doing your job in the first place. Build and maintain strong brands. It's a lot of work. And it requires constant communication and feedback from your customer base. That's who you serve.
866-90 Red Eye.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Coming up on the top of the hour, our Senator John Kennedy audio cut of the week. The mystery of the Bermuda Triangle might have been solved, and the CDC and the COVID vaccine. All that and more coming up following the top of the hour. Of course, they asked Senator Kennedy about crime. And, of course, he's got a couple of great things to say. And, the Bermuda Triangle thing, don't get too excited. It's not malevolent beings underwater. It's not the city of Atlantis, whatever, attacking anybody above the water.
No.
What a scientist through his research has discovered, you're going to go, really? Well, didn't we know that already?
Yeah.
But it was clickbait for me. I went, Bermuda Triangle, because I've seen all the shows on it. Mm-hmm. The plane during World War II just disappeared.
Yeah.
Wow. Really?
Yeah. And there really is no defined Bermuda Triangle. If you ask different people, they'll claim different boundaries. And it's like, yeah, okay, that's not even a triangle. That's more of a circle.
They don't even have that right.
Yeah.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Thank you for being here. As always, we appreciate you, and we hope you're having a great day.
We do.
Right? Or great morning. Well, that's a day. You know what I mean.
Yeah, we start the day. We're getting it rolling.
Let's start with our Senator John Kennedy audio cut of the week.
All right.
On crime. He was on Fox News and was asked this.
Tell us what you think about President Trump's crime crackdown.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm against crime. I think most Americans are, unless they happen to be a criminal or they happen to be like a rock, only dumber. It's also a fact that over the last 5 or 10 years, many of our major cities in America are worse. If you measure it in terms of crime and violence and education, poverty, family formation, it's easiest, not easy, but it's easiest of the problems I've just mentioned to deal with crime. And it's working. We've sent in law enforcement officials to Washington. Crime, violence is down. I don't understand Governor Pritzker's pushback. He's got a crime problem in Chicago. I mean, even the mafia is leaving Chicago because of the crime. I suspect Governor Pritzker, he seems to view random violence as preferable to having help from federal officials coming in. And I think it's probably because of his animosity toward President Trump. If President Trump came out in favor of breathing to survive Governor Pritzker would probably hold his breath.
It's true. Well, yeah. And it seems like a very simple concept. Look, we want to do something about crime. Even Newsom on the state trooper move. Oh. Are you following Trump? He's out. He just walks away. So I'll take that as a yes. Because you are. Because,
well, is this a slow come around? But they don't know what to do.
Yes. They don't know.
They know what they have to do, but they're not fully committed behind it.
Right. They're afraid of the radical left coming at them and being disowned. But you have to look at the dynamics of when the whole defund the police movement started. Everybody was screaming. We saw that. We saw everybody screaming about it. We saw the activists screaming about it. But what did the polls show? What did people actually think? Well, it was a common sentiment through the polls that said, oh, yeah, well, they should defund those police, but not my police. What does that tell you? I want to feel safe. I want to feel safe in my neighborhood. I don't have a problem in my neighborhood, which actually, if you break down that sentiment, it should have been, okay, if there are police officers that are doing wrong, they should be punished accordingly if they are indeed proven to be doing wrong. Otherwise, I want the police out in force in my neighborhood. That's really what it came down to. It's never changed. In fact, there might even be a greater calling for more law enforcement now. I don't have any polls to reflect that. But you could make the case based on the rise in crime over the last several years. But at the very least, when you look at cities like Chicago and Baltimore, it's, and I hate using the word legendary, but the stories of the criminal behavior just go on and on and on and on and on because the crime doesn't stop. It is getting worse, and they're doing nothing about it. They refuse to do anything about it. And now President Trump is, Senator Kennedy there is kind of taking the red eye approach, which, by the way, if you haven't heard, we are against murder and crime. And President Trump is taking a very simple approach. Let's do something about it. As president, he has unique authority in Washington, D.C. By the way, Mayor Bowser is talking, like somebody that might be from his administration.
Yeah, it's a great point.
And it's something that the people of D.C. deserve. They deserve to be protected.
And it's if you're a mayor, you're not happy if you've got to call the federal government in, even if you're a Republican,
right?
Because you're telling the public we haven't solved the problem ourselves.
Exactly.
And we need the federal government to do that. Now, hopefully, you can sit there as a mayor or even a governor and say, the city council isn't doing their job, so I'm going to do it for them.
Right.
I'm going to invite the federal government in to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know in a particular city, depending on how the city is set up, whether a mayor can do that or whether they would need the city council approval.
Right.
So, but I could see a mayor saying that. In fact, I could see the governor of Westmore of Maryland said that. Well, I'd be open to support from the federal government. Well, what does that support mean? Does that mean National Guard, or does that mean we want more money for our social justice programs?
Right. Yeah.
What exactly does that mean? And if you're saying, well, because I can see this happening now, because they're losing this big time. They're getting slaughtered on this. And I can see some governors or even some mayors saying, I'd welcome the federal government, and then knowing that the city council will never accept it, and then you can be on the right side without ever implementing anything.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Because have you seen now lately, again, it popped up again the last couple of days. Trump, even Chris Cillizza. Now I'm really wondering whether Trump isn't going to resign and whether he wants to run for a third term, even though he can't. Shut up.
Yeah. Yeah. Just recycle anything and everything you can.
It's like when Cillizza said it, I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
The only reason you go there is because you've got nothing else.
That's it. You're desperate. You grab and, you reach into the old untried or overtried and untrue instead of tried and true bag of garbage and throw it again. It's something they've done before. He's a dictator. He's Hitler. Yeah, we know. Don't forget Satan. And
I gotta find. Wait a minute. Where is it here? This is, and apparently the ex-NFL player was a punter. Remember the nutcase that was kicking for Minnesota?
Oh yeah.
Was it Klum? Was his name? I think. He was on, I believe, let me just see if this is, he was on CNN. He was arrested for protesting a MAGA library plaque. And he says, I believe we're on the path that Nazi Germany went under Hitler. And I'm not going to, hopefully he says the rest of that in this audio cut that I have here that comes after that, because I was like, well, now I'm impressed. Here we go.
All right.
I believe we're on the path that Nazi Germany went down under Hitler, and I say that as a political science and history major.
Well, I'm a history major, so I can tell you the fact that most of you don't know what happened.
That's right.
In Nazi Germany, because I'm a political science and a history major.
There are no other political science and history majors in the world. I'm the only one, and I have exclusive information and knowledge. Okay.
They just can't stop. I still think, I've been saying this, and I know, I'm expecting somebody to say, hey, you can't be in this perverted sense of all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sorry, they keep upping it every week.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow. And then when they can't win, when they try to up it, then they simply go back. When that doesn't work, they simply go back to the tried and failed Hitler.
Yeah, exactly.
Again and again and again and again and again. When we know, here's the reality of it. I don't care whether you're a Republican president or whether you're a Democrat president. Every executive branch attempts to see how far they can go.
Yes.
They all go to see how far the courts will allow them to go.
Yes.
Now Biden even did it, even though he didn't have a clue. We don't know if Biden did it. Someone in the Biden administration did things that they knew the court was going to challenge.
The auto pen certainly did it.
Right. The auto pen did it. Yes. Someone asked me for their autograph the other day, kiddingly, on social media, and they said, and don't auto pen it. And I put auto pen into Google, and I got, the thing that's actually the auto pen. And I said, here it is.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a picture of the actual auto pen.
Right.
And I will say this. I went, oh, okay, it's an auto pen. It's a contraption where the pen actually signs it.
Right.
I figured it was all digital.
Oh, what about? Yeah, it's actually it's actually
an
automated pen.
Yes, and I figured it was just a digital thing. You just put it in, and it comes up that way.
And what if they integrated AI into it? What if it's self-aware? What if AutoPen did have all the power? What if Eric is losing his mind.
Well, we all know that Trump is Hitler because the auto pen. No, that was Biden that used the auto pen. I don't care. I've got nothing else to say, so I'm going to say that.
No. The next will be Trump refuses to use the auto pen, which means for certain that he's Hitler. Wait for it. Wait for it.
That's great.
There's a reason for the auto pen. You don't just ignore the auto pen.
Is it the former punter? It was Chris Cluey. Is there Clue? I don't know whether it's Cluey or Clue. But if it's Clue, he doesn't have one.
Yeah,
he's really just
yeah.
He's like a mosquito.
Yeah,
he was when he was playing.
Yeah, he was.
Get out of here. Get out of here. You're completely and totally clueless. Yeah. But I just love the justification though. That's why I had to play that. I believe that we're on the path that Nazi Germany went under Hitler, and I say that as a political science and history major.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right.
Really?
All right.
Wow. Well, what kind of information did you get that I didn't get from being a political science and history major?
Yeah.
Did you study the three branches of government?
Right. Can you name the three branches of government right now? It's sad. And it's sad for a couple of reasons. You and I this year celebrated 20 years as a team. We want something new from the left.
Yeah.
The old garbage you keep throwing? Come on, man.
How many times have we said it? There are times when we come on and luckily they're coming up with new stuff every week, but then there gets those times where it's like we're making the same argument because they're making the same allegations. And sometimes, yes, in our brains, because we're always searching for something new, it gets a little bit monotonous.
Yeah.
We're like, for God's sakes, come up with something new. Hitler again?
Right.
Remember, not that the Hitler thing wasn't used before, but really they've been using it the Hitler thing since W.
Yeah.
The Hitler thing.
Yeah.
Remember the protest at his ranch?
Yeah.
I can't remember the woman's name. Remember, she was always out there all the time, and she would refer to him as Hitler. And it was at that point W was Hitler, and we know this because, as Bill Maher said it. Well, yeah, we said they were all Hitler, but they really weren't. But Trump is.
Yeah.
It's like, no, he's not.
No.
It's were they calling? When Biden did the student loan thing, he knew it was unconstitutional.
Yeah.
When he did a bunch of different things,
right?
He knew the COVID shot, everything. He knew it was unconstitutional. He knew it all. They all knew. They didn't care. They're going to try to slip it by and see if they could get it done. And so presidents do that all the time in executive order. It's nothing new in the system.
Right.
It happens, and then the three branches of government work, and you've got the push and the pull back and forth, and so there's nothing new here. But
well, remember the whole thing on the recess appointments with Obama. It was a 9-0 decision from the Supreme Court.
Remember that? 9-0.
They were like, no.
We thought it must have been the Babylon Bee. We had to triple check that story. Remember? Well, we know that we've got 5 legitimate news sources that say this happened, but we just can't believe they ruled.
Right.
Now, that's never going to happen again because Justice Jackson wants people to know not her legal thoughts, but just what she generally emotionally thinks about everything.
Right.
The woman who could not identify what a woman is.
Yeah.
In her testimony before Congress. I don't know what a woman is. Could you help me with this? I don't know. I'm not a biologist. I need to be I don't have a political science and history major degree.
Right.
I don't know. I didn't take gender studies.
Yeah, what do I know?
I wonder how that's doing in colleges now, the gender studies? Curriculum.
Oh, I have to believe it still exists, but I'm probably on the decline. Where's the demand for it? Would be the question.
Well, until last week, Cracker Barrel, maybe.
Exactly. I could work at Cracker Barrel and gender studies at night.
866-90-RED-EYE.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90-RED-EYE on Red Eye Radio.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Coming up in the bottom of the hour, we've got more audio coming up about the insanity of the left. And this is, that I have some of the Chris Cillizza cut. Why I'm rethinking my belief that Donald Trump won't run again in 2028. Why I'm rethinking my belief.
All right.
Maybe he will run again. And we're hearing this now also on CNN. I mean, this is the new old narrative. It just never changes. It's like, okay, we've gone a couple of weeks. Let's show this out again. He can't run.
No.
It's like they don't. These are the people that claim that they have this intelligence, probably because they went to political science.
Yeah.
They have a political science major.
And history major. Yeah. Well, that qualifies them.
But, I mean, it's just such garbage, but it's fascinating to listen to, though.
One 866-90-RED-EYE. Call with your reaction. Red Eye Radio.
And he is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Download our Red Eye Radio app today, and you can listen to us when and where you choose. All right, so here we go. First off, and this is the whole thing, which has just been revised here in the last couple of days again, that elections may never happen again in the United States. Trump may run again, and if Trump runs again, that means Republicans will run, and they're going to stop Democrats from running, and we're going to live in a autocratic society, and it's just like Hitler, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. And I know this because I have a political science degree, and I'm a history major.
Yeah.
But here it is. This is CE Cup, former Republican, never Trumper.
Mm-hmm.
She's definitely not a Republican anymore.
No.
Not a conservative. And I wish you could see the audio because this is on CNN and Scott Jennings just looking at her when he puts his hand underneath his chin. It just looking at her going, but here we go, all right? And then we'll analyze this after. Here we go. All right.
If Democrats want to combat this and get a chance at another election, and I understand where Bill Maher is going with this, that like elections might not happen in future years if this continues. They've got to win. They've got to win elections. And no one in the party, and I talk to Democrats all day long, no one is talking about where's our agenda? Where's our New Deal, our contract with America? What's our platform to identify and solve the problems that Americans are screaming they have? Only Trump is saying, here's my answer for them. We don't like the answers, but he's answering them. Democrats aren't even asking the question. They're just naming the problem over and over again in an echo chamber.
And again, this is the whole thing that elections might not happen in the future. That seemed to regain momentum this week from Democrats.
Yeah.
Which, of course, is complete horse manure. I mean, maybe in the future someday, maybe 500 years from now, we'll have a civil war or something.
No.
But all of us, if you're listening and you're 3 months old, Thank you for being a listener, number one. And hopefully you understand everything that we're saying. But your entire life, there will be elections in the United States.
Yes. Yes, there will be. And I guess if you've lost on everything else, you circle back to whatever.
Is it
a wheel? Do they have a wheel that they spin?
Well, is this a type of virtue signaling that I'm more concerned than you that the end of the world is here?
Oh yeah. I think that's a constant for them. I'm more concerned, and they talk about democracy, right? Yeah, well, can we talk about the auto pen? Can we talk about the laptop?
Well, she keeps saying, and Democrats, number one, I mean, it's ridiculous, the whole thing about elections are not going to happen, and we'll get to the Crystal Liza comments coming up here in just a couple of minutes, but they all get it wrong. They're all saying that the Democrats don't have a plan. Where's the Democrats? They have a plan.
Yeah.
Open borders, pro-crime. They have a plan.
Yeah.
I mean, on everything I've heard, it's just a continuation. Everything they say isn't true. It's like when the whole thing with the prayer thing came up. All they're doing is praying. They think the praying's going to stop crime. Nobody said that. You're making that up. Nobody said that. Nobody ever said that. I don't know one conservative or one Christian that said that.
Nope.
No one has said that.
Nope.
You're making that up. And they're making it up, too, when they say the Democrats don't have a plan. Where's the Democrat plan to help the people? You've seen it. We can lay it out for you. Boys should compete against girls. A man can be a woman if the man wants to be. Bullying and misogyny is okay as long as it's a woman or a man claiming that he's a woman. Misogyny is okay. Bullying and threatening women is okay.
Crime is okay. Open borders are okay.
Is okay. We judge people by groups. We preach identity politics. We judge people by groups and not individuals. Now, here we go again. Because of the accusation that they made, we're going through the same response again. It's the same exact response we gave yesterday, last week, the week before that, because they keep on the same narrative and they keep on the same untruths. Because people are like, and Republicans say, yeah, you're right. Even some Republicans will say, yeah, they're right. I mean, they haven't identified themselves. Yes, they have.
Yeah, they definitely have.
It's right in front of you. You've defined yourself to the American people. And so they keep saying the American people don't know where we stand and we need to come out and tell them where we stand. No, the American people actually do understand where you stand.
Yeah.
Oh. So frustrating.
Well, but they have nothing else. There is really nothing else for them. What are they going, what would they promote? Everything they promote is radical. What do they promote in the best interest of the American people?
Well, why doesn't she come out or any of the Democrats that say, because it's all, and how many audio cuts have we played the last month on this? Well, nobody knows. Well, then tell us where they should stand.
Yeah.
What should be the issues that Democrats stand behind?
Well, think about this.
Give me one.
A very basic thing, crime. The only people that are for crime are criminals and Democrats.
Yeah.
They can't, there's no way to sell what they're doing, yet they feel empowered to do it. It's the most incredible counterinstinctive type of approach to American politics. The people are screaming, we need help on crime. And people like Pritzker are giving him the finger. I don't know what happens to Mayor Bowser. I mean, in her own party. Because she's sounding more like a member of the Trump administration. She's talking about the success that they've had and mentions the president along with it. Well, I don't think that's allowed. I wasn't at the summer meeting this last few days here that ran a few days this week, but I'm guessing that's against the rules. I'm waiting for them to come out and brand her.
Now listen to this one this week. Representative John Larson from Connecticut, Democrat. Here we go. Ready? Here we go again.
All right.
Now, have we been here, done this? They just keep repeating the same thing over and over again. Now, in this one, though, he's just angry. Here we go.
All
right. Now, this is about ICE agents. Here you go.
This is not Germany. That's the SS and the Gestapo. This is the United States of America. Unmask yourselves.
Wow. Did they screen that with all the protesters, remember, that were attacking agents and police officers in L.A. that had masks on?
Well, that's where it all came from.
Yeah,
we know.
Exactly.
And let's go back again to the former Minnesota Vikings punter. Okay, just because I want to play. Here we go.
I believe we're on the path that Nazi Germany went down under Hitler, and I say that as a political science and history major.
All right, everybody, it's over. The political science and history major has spoken.
Oh, my gosh.
He has enlightened us.
And it keeps coming and coming and coming. And then let me just get this one more. And this was Chris Cillizza, who wrote, I've been pretty adamant that Donald Trump won't run again in 2028. I've started to rethink that take because, as we know, the narrative's been growing and growing and growing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I now can see Trump trying to do that, even if I still believe he would ultimately be legally barred from being on the ballot. So he can't do it, but he's going to try.
Okay. Whatever.
I mean, it's just, it doesn't stop. And it all started because of Newsom. Newsom's the one that got that going, remember?
Yeah, right, yeah.
What was it, about a week ago? So now everybody's jumping on board. And the thing is, it has no effect on the public because they've been there, done that over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
How many times? I wish we could sit there and go back and count how many, not how many Democrats have said it, but how many waves we have had over the last, since, I don't know, 2016 about, Trump being a Nazi or Trump doing this or Trump doing that. I wonder how many waves we've been through of Trump being called a Nazi or Hitler.
I
couple of hundred, maybe?
I was going to say, I didn't know it ever ended.
No, I'm sorry.
One constant
wave.
It's
not a wave. It's tsunami after tsunami.
Exactly.
But it's just the dumbest thing. It's not credible. You're not convincing independents. You've got Democrats that are leaving because that's the story. As the story is out there again from the liberal media. It was the liberal media that did the whole thing. It was the New York Times, right?
Yeah.
Did the story on the $4.5 million difference.
Right.
And how Democrats are leaving the Democratic Party and becoming Republicans.
Right.
And one of the reasons is they know this isn't true. And they say, all you're doing is you're anti-Trump. That's not true. They're anti-Trump, but they're also pro-open borders. We've gone through it all. Pro-defund the police, pro-crime.
Yeah.
Pro-Hamas. Misogynist in the radical transgender movement. Throwing science completely out the window. Enabling people that they say are mentally ill, because as we brought to you yesterday, that, and I did see that the police chief, I did see an article that said the police chief in Minneapolis doesn't believe there's any mental illness here. And we're just like, yesterday we went, the Democrats came up with the mental illness argument for transgenders.
Right.
They're the ones that came up with the argument. Republicans didn't.
Right.
Democrats did. That's why we had to go play the audio again of Josh Hawley talking to that Berkeley professor,
right,
who said, you can't even talk about this. What do you mean? I'm just asking you questions. I want to understand what you're talking about. Well, that's transphobic.
Right.
Well, what do you mean? Well, do you believe men can get pregnant? Well, of course not. See, that's transphobic. That's you're committing violence. Did you know that transgenders commit 1 out of 5 transgenders attempt suicide? Well, so what you're saying is there's a huge mental problem here, because that's way over what the normal public is. There's a mental health crisis here, and you're saying that we can't talk about it, and then you're saying the solution is to allow children to cut off their body parts and take irreversible hormone therapy.
Mm-hmm. And then, what's we call it yesterday, the op-ed piece we read from, I got mine blank here. We all need to compromise here. Oh.
Leon Panetta.
Yeah.
Leon Panetta.
Yeah.
We all need to come together. Why can't we come together? Why can't we compromise? Everybody give a little bit. And then we pointed out, well, where do you compromise there?
Yeah.
Where do you compromise on racism? We're only going to be bigoted against half the population.
Yeah.
Well, we're doing that now. We're only bigoted against Republicans.
Yeah.
Insane.
It really is.
866-90-RED-EYE.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90-RED-EYE.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Coming up following the top of the hour, you and I were talking about this off the air. The Minnesota church shooter's mother refuses to talk to police, not cooperating at all, and got herself a criminal defense attorney. That's really interesting.
It's really interesting because what I don't know is why that would be the case. I don't know what it is that you would, because we're told that the shooter bought the gun himself. So why the need to hire a criminal defense lawyer for the mom?
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thank you for being here this morning. Still got some more great audio coming up here in just a little bit. I do want to play this one, though, because I wanted to add it before, and I forgot to do it because we were playing so many audio cuts, and this is when we were playing the Democrats going crazy, the authoritarian thing, and the Democrats out there saying, well, we've got our problems with people don't know what we stand for, and we have to tell people what we stand for, and we've said, you've already told people what you stand for. And we mentioned the radical transgender movement. You believe that a man can be a woman biologically if the man says so. And that means that because men can be biologically be women, they should be able to compete against women in sports. And if they don't, you will threaten women, bully and threaten women, that you will destroy their life. We know it because it's already happened. We have it documented in the Ivy League, and the Democrats, almost 100% in Congress, support this. And I wanted to say, I got an audio cut coming up here. I wanted to say, meanwhile, in the Texas legislature...
Is it your intention to run trans people out of the state of Texas? No? Just out of the bathroom.
All right. Well,
I'm sorry.
At least the Democrats don't go to extremes. Oh my gosh!
Got one of our great listeners wrote and said, "I can't believe they haven't called Trump Antichrist." Well, they have Satan. That happened about a month ago? I forgot who it was.
Yeah,
because we recognized. We said, no, they've gone from Hitler to Satan. Yeah. And we went, well, that's it. They can't go any further.
Right.
We had always said they have to go to Satan next. But the problem with going to Satan is if they go to Satan, then they will be accused by their own of believing in God.
Yeah.
Can't have that.
Right.
Because now, as we know, as of 2 days ago, praying to God isn't a good thing.
Right.
They'll lie.
It does nothing.
They'll lie about why people pray to God.
Right.
So,
yeah.
And so I maybe we'll get back to, at the DNC in 2028, could there be not just booing God, but a standing a wave booing God? Like they would do the boo God wave.
Yeah.
Around the auditorium.
The anti-God protest.
Yes.
With protest signs and the whole thing.
Wow. Just amazing. The entire thing about firing the CDC director, all I've got to say is this. A lot of people in the CDC do have to go. The wokeness that was there, you and I always objected to the CDC, for example, Center for Disease Control. Remember they used to do the thing of gun violence?
Yep. Yeah.
Gun violence is not a disease. Stop it.
Right.
It's a crime.
Right.
And anyone in the CDC, and they talked about the head that was just fired, talked about pregnant people. Mm-hmm. You start talking that language, you're gone. None of that is scientific. None of that is medical. Now, we both are not fans and never have been fans of Robert Kennedy Jr. We believe in many areas he's a complete nutcase.
Yeah.
He has backed off on statements that he has made before. Recently, I don't buy it. I believe he's an anti-vaxxer.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't believe it's just that he wants them safe. He's saying that now. He said that to get his position. I believe we know the ton of lies that were told about the COVID-19 vaccine up front. We know that. Mm-hmm. We recognize it. Mm-hmm. But the COVID vaccine, from every study I've seen, and I've seen nothing to discount it, is effective for people that get COVID to lessen the damage that can be done because of it. They lied to us, and we said this way up front. We never saw the evidence where it needed to be given to healthy people under 40 or maybe even under 50.
Or that it prevented the spread.
Or prevented the spread.
Or prevented you from getting it.
Right.
Even.
Never did. But I don't like the fact that he's in that position. We've never liked him in that position. And again, I've got no problems with ensuring that we have a healthier society. I don't think it's going to do anything. I don't think Maha is going to have any effect on the health of people in this country. It's way overblown. I don't need government to be telling me or restricting from me food, and I don't need to be lectured on doing pull-ups and sit-ups.
Yeah, I also, my greatest concern still is his stance on abortion.
Yeah.
And, we're only several months in. And I just pray that there's no move on that. I don't think there will be. But his stance on abortion is what would disqualify him full stop for me anyway, and means he shouldn't be in that position.
Yeah.
Ambassador to Camelot? Maybe.
Nah, he's been rejected by Camelot completely.
He's one of the only members of Camelot left.
Yeah, but
he's kind of aged out.
Yeah, but the family has rejected him.
Mm-hmm.
The family has rejected, that's my concern. That when he testified even before Congress, I believe he was lying.
Mm-hmm.
I believe he thinks that vaccines overall, the history of vaccines in this country has been a negative and not a positive. And there's no way you can make that case when you look at smallpox and polio and everything else that happened. Half of us wouldn't be here if there wasn't a smallpox vaccine.
Right.
Most people here don't know it. Young people don't know it. They didn't live through it like our parents did
mm-hmm.
and our grandparents did. And polio, whoa. I think 2 of my uncles had polio.
Mm.
And they suffered tremendously because of it, and that was eradicated. Should we ensure that vaccines are safe? Absolutely. But when he said there's no safety testing for vaccines, which is a quote from him, that was a lie.
Mm-hmm.
And then he changed it. Well, there's not placebo. Well, there is in many vaccines, not all. When they add a new vaccine, when they add a new vaccine that's similar, they update one.
Right.
They may not do a placebo one for that, but they've done the placebo ones for the ones previous to that.
Right.
In order to get to it. So he picks and chooses what he likes. And then he tries to sell it. And the problem is there were so many lies originally about COVID-19 where we live in a society, if you spot the lies, then you assume that everything is a lie without doing your research to find out whether everything is a lie or not.
Well, and that's the greatest problem and concern of having somebody. Look, there are a great number of concerns with the COVID vaccines. I think they're well documented.
Mm-hmm.
But beyond that, don't let that taint the entire group of vaccines for all diseases and illnesses.
Right. Or understand there actually is a place for the COVID-19, whatever it is now. But for the COVID vaccine, there is a place, especially with the elderly and the obese and those with other underlying conditions. You don't believe so?
No, I mean, there is. I think it's all but gone. I think it's, even in the medical community, they're just not pushing it anymore. And that part of that is built on the lack of trust. Part of that is because of the lack of trust that's built on that. But I think it's diminished greatly.
Oh yeah,
because it's all but gone.
Because it's been through everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's 100% of the people have been affected by it.
Right. Yeah, it's a combination of herd immunity and lack of trust. When there's no demand for it, when people quit showing up for those vaccines. And those vaccines.
Yeah, does anybody even get it? Does anybody even get it anymore?
They changed the recommendation on it the other day. The recommendation is only now in those in the highest risk groups. That happened just yesterday,
right?
Day before?
Well, yeah, but that was also like CVS doesn't have it available in many markets now.
And the reason is because there's no demand, because you can't stock it for long.
They said government regulation.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't know about that.
Okay, we'll see what that.
But the demand has gone down to nothing. Well, it could be is a government regulation that government isn't paying for it, isn't covering the cost, or I don't know what that would mean. Government regulation, but the demand for it is all but gone.
But I agree with that. It should only be now for those in the highest. But I know someone whose wife has cancer, and they cannot get the vaccine, and they want it because she is in the highest risk group, and they can't get it.
Not even through the oncologist.
Nope.
Wow.
And that's Eric Erickson's wife, the talk show, the conservative talk show host, can't get it. That shouldn't be happening.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that's about. I'm not familiar with that case.
I read that. He posted it yesterday.
Right.
On it that haven't been able to get it. So I'm sure hopefully somehow they will be able to get it, but it's been, they haven't been able to get it yet, which it should be readily available for somebody who actually is in that category.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw a sign for it in the pharmacy just about 4 or 5 days ago.
What did it say?
COVID shots available.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I don't know what's causing the shortage, but the one thing that is true is
probably demand. I think you're right on that.
Well, no, I mean that's you can't store it, and if you can't store it, then what are you going to do? You're only going to produce so many lots of it because the demand is going to be few and far between. That the demand for it is all but gone. And
boy, I haven't looked at
I think that's going to be the case.
Remember, we were looking at that chart every day.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at that in a couple of years.
Yeah.
the COVID. But, yeah, I just, so anybody in the CDC that's talking the radical transgender movement or isn't sticking right to medicine, there's going to be, we said this, Trump has to clean out a ton of people, and some of it may be distasteful at times, but the wokeness, the insanity is so embedded that you may not get it right 100% of the time. Now, when I saw the head of the CDC, who they just appointed, by the way, Trump administration, she's only been in office a month.
Right.
They're the ones who put her in there. It's like, maybe you should vet your own people. But they actually talked about pregnant people the other day.
Yeah.
It's like, sorry, you start talking about that and you're the head of a medical association, you're out.
Yeah. No, this is exactly what we saw in the Obama years. And when Trump came in, the Trump administration, the first Trump administration, looked to change that back. Because you can't have any ambiguous tones when you're talking about illnesses and disease. You just can't. And when you go down that route, you're only worried about feelings and not about disease. I don't care about feelings. If you're alive, you can hate all you want. And that's the job of the CDC.
Yeah. Medicine.
Medicine.
And when they got involved, remember, they would always put out, it would be like, gun crimes, it's not a disease. Stop it.
Right. No, it changed the questions that doctors' offices would ask.
Yeah, remember that?
Yep.
Remember the advice? People going in, do you have a weapon?
Yeah. Right.
You ever get asked that?
Do you own a weapon? Nope.
I never got asked that.
No.
Now, they do ask me. I think, once a year. And the nurse asked me, because I think my doctor would burst out laughing if he asked me it. But it's like, do you have any suicidal thoughts?
Mm-hmm.
Does everybody get that now?
Yeah.
That's part of your...
the mental health questioning has been going on for quite some time. But, it's different when you engage in the behavior of inspecting what's in someone's home, because that's what that is. When you say, do you own a gun? How many guns do you own? What types of guns? Where do you keep them? I mean, where would it stop is my point. I'm exaggerating the questionnaire, but the entire spirit of asking those kinds of questions is to get into the government questioning or logging those responses.
It wasn't really applicable in Texas because everybody said yes.
The answer, it's assumed yes.
It's assumed.
If you don't, now there's a concern about you.
That's right. It's completely the opposite.
Right. Unless you're under the age of 3. 3 years and older, then it's assumed, yes, you own at least one.
All right, I'm choking on that one now. Excuse me. 866 90 Red Eye.
Brought to you by Hotshot Secret.
Hi, I'm Jen Loomis, a transport safety expert at J.J. Keller, and I'm here to share a tip on roadside inspections. Once a roadside inspection is completed, the officer will close it out, which involves the officer writing or typing up the report. The more the officer found during the inspection, the longer this will take. If violations were discovered, most officers, as a courtesy, will explain the violations to the driver. If there were any out-of-service violations, the officer will normally explain what must be done to get the out-of-service order lifted. Drivers need to be very attentive during this part of the inspection. The driver also needs to read and understand the complete inspection report. After receiving the inspection report, the driver has 24 hours to get the roadside inspection report to the motor carrier. If the driver will not be returning to a company facility within the next 24 hours, the driver needs to know to get it on the way to you via email, mail, or fax within 24 hours. This tip was brought to you by J.J. Keller & Associates. Visit us at jjkeller.com.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
We're Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Coming up on the bottom of the hour, the Minneapolis school shooter's mother refuses to talk to police, obtains a criminal defense attorney. Sure, a lot of people wondering why in the world.
Yeah.
What in the world's going on there?
That I don't get.
So, yeah. It's not like you're waiting a family member to go to trial.
Right.
He's dead.
He's dead, and according to authorities, he purchased the guns, unless that is not accurate information. The question would be, if she's hiring a defense attorney, does that mean there's some kind of involvement in the planning of this that includes her, or is she doing it out of precaution? We don't know.
Catch all 5 hours of the show live every night on the Red Eye Radio app. Available in the App Store. Red Eye Radio.
And he is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. You know, when you and I looked at the polling a couple of weeks ago, and the polling showed that in some areas of the country, a plurality, and then a majority of Democrats believed that illegal immigrant criminals should be allowed to stay in the United States. You and I went, whoa, this is unbelievable. And after I saw this audio, this actual video, but audio from Caitlin Bennett, who was going on college campuses, and this, I guess, was the University of South Florida, and asking about gangs, MS-13 criminals, and things like that to students. This is just a short audio cut, but when I combining this to that poll that came out, I do think that the conservative influencers should be going back to college campuses with their microphones.
Yeah.
To see what people think. Because listen to this here. Here we go.
All right.
I think we should abolish jail and we should allow all the violent immigrants and yes.
We should allow them to what?
Stay here.
Okay. Do you think that we could abolish jails, get all the violent immigrants, your words, and all the violent felons in jail? Could we put them here at USF on campus?
Yes, and I'll hang out with them.
You'll hang out with them?
Mm-hmm.
People give people labels all the time. And
no, they named themselves, like they named their own gang, MS-13.
Yeah, but you saying violent, which I understand, but gangs are there for a reason. Gangs are there for community, and they're there because, listen.
Do we have to go any further?
No. I wish you would. I have had plenty.
It's like it's almost time to end the week, is it not?
Yes. Can we go now? Please?
Can we leave early? Can we?
Do we have some Christmas music or something to play? My gosh.
Well,
this is when we should take out all of our Milton Friedman cuts.
Yes.
Line them up, Alan. Good luck, y'all.
Oh my.
Yeah. By the way, I'm saying this to cheer myself up after that audio cut. We're going to be on vacation next week.
Hey, can we get out early? The thing is, here's the thing.
Here's the thing.
Here's the thing.
Thing.
Whenever there's a big holiday.
Yeah.
The companies in the past said everybody can get out at noon. We never get to leave early because of a holiday.
No.
We have to work.
They even gave people an extra day off for the 4th for Independence Day this year. Now, we're going to take that eventually.
Oh, okay.
Because we couldn't take it. Well, we were out that week and had already scheduled vacation time, but we're going to take it later.
Well, that's
but
good.
Anytime you get off early, anytime the office closes early, we never get out early.
No. All I want is what's coming to me. All I want is my fair share.
That's right.
See, I'm getting ready for Christmas. A Charlie Brown Christmas.
Yeah.
By the way, you said play Christmas music. We are almost to September.
We are. My gosh, in a few weeks, fall will officially arrive. Our friend Dan Mandis, the very capable Marconi Award-winning Dan Mandis, will be filling in next week. Sunday night, Monday morning, we'll have they call it a best of show. You decide if it's best of. But we'll have some encore programming for you. And then Dan will be here throughout the week to keep you company and try and make sense of the insanity.
Dan can deal with the insanity next week.
It's all you, Dan.
Yeah, you take
Good
care
luck.
of it. We're done.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, at wit's end after that last audio cut. It's like, are you kidding me? My neck hurts after that audio cut. It caused physical pain. My gosh. Can you imagine being around that all day, every day?
No.
We talked about...
Could you imagine being in college? I wouldn't last.
No, that's what. It's exactly where I was going.
Yeah.
We talked about that. There were people that were, afraid to, question their professor. They thought it would affect their grades. It happens to some degree in the office place where, you don't want to rock the boat. You don't want to question, especially if they have authority, whether it's a teacher or a supervisor or boss, and then they espouse these radical political views, especially ones that are lies, and most, if not all of them are. And can you imagine, though, having to sit? That's the problem. I couldn't just sit still. There's no way. There's no way.
Yeah, I couldn't sit in the
There's
classes.
no way.
Remember,
There's no way.
And remember in 10th grade, in Dr. Marlick's class, history class. By the way, to hit the former punter of the Minnesota Vikings, I took a 10th grade history class, so I understand.
So you were
World War
well-schooled
II. Yes.
on the history.
But that was in 10th grade when the substitute came in. And this is, okay, 10th grade would have been 71. So a few years before the end of the Vietnam War. And she was saying there's no difference between communism and the United States form of government.
Uh-huh.
Well, come on. I've talked about my dad a lot. My dad was sitting at the dinner table. He explained to us specifically the difference between communism, and a constitutional republic. Mm-hmm. I knew then what the three branches of government were. And so I raised my hand. She goes, yes. And I said, you're wrong. That's not the thing to do with a substitute teacher in 10th grade who has been brainwashed to the belief that there's no difference between communism and a constitutional republic. I should have known. Where I was naive is knowing that this conversation could only go in one direction, and that was me going straight to the principal's office.
Well, Gary, you should have known because she had a political science degree and a history degree.
And an education degree.
An education degree.
She was an educator.
And you weren't an educator. What do you know? You're just a punk kid.
Mm-hmm. But I was at that time an Eagle Scout. I'd got my Eagle Scout badge by that time.
All right, good. Well, so you could tie a knot. So what? So start a fire?
No,
okay,
no,
fine.
no. I had.
So you admit you're used to starting fires? I'll just argue,
and I didn't
like they do with Scott Jennings on CNN.
And I didn't need a match.
Exactly. Aha!
No, we took we had our there were citizenship merit badges. You had to know.
Yeah.
You had to know history. You had to know. You know that. You were in Boy Scouts. Yep. You had to.
I wasn't a good Boy Scout, but I was in it. Yeah.
But you had to know. You had to know all that stuff, and so. But really, was the most came from my father around the dinner table. He wanted us to know.
Yeah.
Because we asked him, what are you doing? My dad was, part of making he was an engineer for the propulsion system and some of the guidance systems of the one of the first generation of Minuteman missiles, which is the intercontinental ballistic missile that carries the warhead.
Yeah.
And when he worked for Bell Aerospace. So, when you're doing that, you're probably thinking, what's this for? Soviet Union. So being an intelligent guy, he wanted to make sure his kids knew. So the good thing is I sort of became legendary for that because the principal was one of my father's best friends in high school, that high school.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, what are you doing here? I got kicked out of class for insubordination. What do you do? What did you do? I was arguing the difference. She said there's no difference between communism and a constitutional republic, and I told her that there was, and I explained to her what it was, and she said, you're wrong, and I told her, no, she was wrong. And he's just shaking his head, with a little smirk on his face, shaking his head. He goes, all right, just go sit over there until the class ends. It's like, I think that was a first, It was spitballs. He took the girl's pigtails and put it in the inkwell. Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That was in the 1930s.
Yeah, well.
Or, he cursed at me in class or he got into a fight.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine that being on your permanent record. We're suspending you for arguing that there is a difference between a constitutional republic and communism, McNamara. This is going on your permanent record.
Your permanent record.
Which means you will not be able to get into any Ivy League college for trying to argue that point. You're screwed.
All those years later, they saved you.
Tell me, what do you think about Israel? I'm not answering.
What do you think about open borders?
No, but I just wouldn't. Getting back to the original point of being interviewed, I would have been in the middle of those arguments. I was in college already, and nobody was really that radical back then. When I was in college in the mid-'70s, and still I would get into arguments with the teachers, but it was more accepted in college back then in the mid-'70s. You could do it. you probably couldn't do it today in most colleges.
Yeah.
Hopefully you can.
Yeah.
But before we go any further, what's wrong with this New York Times article? The headline.
The fact that it's in the New York Times. All right, go ahead.
Well, that is an answer, and I can't say that's not a correct answer. Well. It's in the New York Times. Here we go. Minneapolis suspect knew her target, but motive is a mystery. Can you believe it?
Not a female.
Not a female. And that's what happens when what you're doing is you're normalizing. You know, the shooter who attacked a Catholic school on Wednesday posted social media videos and writings that betrayed a litany of grievances and obsessions.
Mm-hmm.
We all knew, you know, and it was pointed out yesterday, I think, a bunch of the, what is it? I can't think of what is it? The Newsbusters.
Mm.
And others were pointing out that like CNN, a whole bunch of the different networks never mentioned that the shooter was transgender.
Right.
But putting her in there,
right,
you're normalizing the lie.
Right. Right.
Not a her.
Nope.
And so you're normalizing and enabling the behavior, or you're normalizing the absolutely false science of it, which is part of the enabling of the transgender movement to begin with, which then leads to, if it's normal, then you should allow the, quote, gender-affirming care
right,
to minors.
Right.
Because that's where it's all leading.
Right.
Whether it's, and in the state, you know, this happening in Minnesota, this is the state where they've normalized it.
Oh, yeah.
As if it's completely and totally normal.
With a lot of help from Governor Tim Walz.
Yeah. And the AG.
Yep.
When our kids tell us something, we believe them.
Right.
Really? Do you have any kids?
Right. You ever been around children?
Been around children. So whatever the kids say goes? Is that what you're saying?
Children are wholly dishonest people.
Well, as Dr. Johnny Fever doing an interview on WKRP to one so-called false expert on children, he did have an accurate statement. He said, by the standards that adults set, all children are insane.
Exactly. That's true.
There it is. Minneapolis suspect knew her target, but motive is a mystery.
Nope.
Everybody knows that's BS. Everyone. Every Democrat knows that's BS. The New York Times knows it's BS, and they still write it. 866-90-RED-EYE.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Download our Red Eye Radio app today because our show ends in an hour, and after our show ends, it becomes our podcast. And so if you missed part of the show, you can catch up on our Red Eye Radio app. Plus, for some reason, you can't listen to one of our great radio stations live overnight. We stream all 5 hours live on our Red Eye Radio app.
And thank you.
Yep. Reading here. Rosie O'Donnell falsely says Minneapolis trans attacker was a Republican, MAGA person, and white supremacist. Wow. Reading that headline there. Let's see if we can find the audio on that one. Wait a minute. Do we really want to hear Rosie's voice?
We don't need to hear that audio.
Okay.
Come on. We have 1 hour left before a vacation. Let's not do that.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.